Welcome to the Hangar Z podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasting in partnership with Vertical Valor Plus. This series comes to you from the hangar at Broward Sheriff's Office as part of the 2026 Blades of Valor Tour, where we had the opportunity to interview Sgt Paul Seda and pilot Carl Speer.
Our violent felony unit, our Viper unit, was waiting for him. He did crash, significant crash, but we have video of him, bailing out of the crash, dropping his gun on the ground, picking his gun back up, jumping over a fence, then jumping into a canal where he eventually gets apprehended.
The Blades of Valor Tour spotlights public safety aviation units recognized for outstanding service and celebrates those who go above and beyond. We aim to promote the good work these agencies do and highlight the standard of excellence they set. These teams serve as a benchmark for the public safety aviation community. Our mission is to share their stories of unwavering commitment, courage, innovative leadership, teamwork, and technological innovation from agencies setting the standard in public safety aviation. Thank you to our 2026 Blades of Valor Tour sponsor, Switlick Survival Products, for making this tour possible. Switlick Survival Products supports aviation, marine, military, and search and rescue crews with a wide variety of high-quality survival products. To learn more, go to switlick.com. Huge thank you to Massif Flight Suits, who provides the flight suits that support our crews in the field. This Hangar Z episode, recorded on location at the Broward Sheriff's Office in Fort Lauderdale, marks the second stop of the 2026 Blades of Valor Tour. In this conversation, Jack Shanley and I sit down with Sgt Paul Seda and pilot Carl Speer to discuss the evolution of one of Florida's most dynamic airborne law enforcement aviation units. This episode dives deep into the operational excellence of the Broward Sheriff's Office. Sergeant Seda and Officer Speer explain the hunt bad guys philosophy that drives their mission and the transition from a multi-mission medevac/law enforcement hybrid to a dedicated high-tempo law enforcement unit. This episode concludes with a tribute to pilot Carl Speer, who reflects on a 39-year law enforcement career. The crew discusses the culture of consistency and the passion required to sustain a long, successful career in the cockpit. This stop on the Blades of Valor Tour highlights a unit built on trust, transparency, and a relentless commitment to supporting the men and women on the ground. Thank you to our sponsors, Precision Aviation Group, Airbus, and Metro Aviation.
Welcome to the Hangar Z podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts. The Hangar Z podcast is the first and only podcast dedicated to promoting and exploring the personnel and equipment behind the missions in public safety aviation.
Still southbound, skidding to a stop. Stand by here. Looks like they're getting ready to bail. Heads up, guys, bailing. Okay, the guy, he's running through the house, jumping the fence, threw the shotgun, threw something out. Grabbing the shotgun. Don't go over that fence. Don't go over that fence. Grab the shotgun again. He is armed. Stay there. Hold your position.
Welcome to the Hangar Z podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts and partnered with Vertical Valor magazine. We are on stop 2 of the 2026 Blades of Valor Tour in Florida. It's so far so good. It's been fantastic. With me, of course, is the creator of the Hangar Z podcast, John Gray. Good so far, John?
Yeah, good morning, sir. This is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Every stop that we've been at, stop 1, stop 2, amazing. You guys have opened up your doors and just made us feel so welcome, and your operations are truly impressive. We love recording in hangars, and as we are sitting here, we have, for those that are not watching, you probably should. There's a really beautiful H-125 behind us, and as I'm looking across the hangar, there's a Rook over there and all kinds of really cool SWAT equipment. I feel like a little kid in a candy store here.
Oh, this is great. So we got to start thanking MHM Publishing. We couldn't do this without MHM. They're wonderful to us. Vertical Valor magazine, Vertical Helicasts, and of course, Massif Flight Suits. Thank you to Massif for supporting the Hangar Z podcast. These flight suits are wonderful and comfortable and keeps us safe when we're out here on the road and touring different units. So with that, we'll introduce our guests. We're with Broward Sheriff's Office in the Fort Lauderdale area. And with us today is Sgt Paul Seda. Paul?
Hey, how are you?
Very, very good. Thanks for having us. Thanks for all your help and setting us up and getting us going. We appreciate it. And pilot Carl Speer. Welcome, Carl.
Happy to be here. Thanks.
Oh, we're really happy to have you guys. This is really great. We did some stuff yesterday, did some air-to-air, and we were out at your airborne platform operations training, which you do quarterly. We'll talk a little bit about that. Got to witness that. So we got to hang out and meet some people and see what the operation's all about. And so far, we're just thrilled. So this will be fun. Let's start with this. APSCON 2026 is coming to Fort Lauderdale.
First time.
Yeah, first time ever. That's in July. It's July 13th through 17th, right here in beautiful Fort Lauderdale. It's a manned and unmanned APSCON. Let's start with you, Paul. What are your thoughts about APSCON coming to town?
Oh, we're excited about it. It's fun. We've been throughout the unit. We kind of take turns sending people to all the different each year to APSCON, and so to have it come down here to South Florida is really cool. We're excited to have everyone come see our area.
Yeah. Carl, you've been to a lot of APSCONs. It used to be ALEA, obviously, for a lot of your time. Your thoughts about it coming to town?
Oh, it's great. First off, you think traveling is going to be this, this big party.
Yeah.
It's not. So the fact that it's right here at home is kind of nice.
Yeah, really nice. Really nice. I mean, it's right there. I love that you said that Paul, that you can get more people to it. I mean, for your unit.
Yeah,
you can rotate. Even for a few hours, you can find time to get people in and experience some of the training and the floor and the events. It's a fun time. We're looking forward to coming down here again.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of times going to these conferences, I don't know where I should go or where I shouldn't go. And we usually talk with Dan Schwartzbach and get some insight as to the city that, what people should avoid and what they should go to. Any advice from you guys, like a must-go-to restaurant, must-go-to bar, or must-avoid area?
There's a few must-avoid areas, but for the most part, there's some good areas. Where it's being held is in the convention center. The convention center is in Port Everglades, which is right near downtown Fort Lauderdale. Oh, nice. So you're surrounded by probably some of the best dining and opportunities, and it's where kind of everybody comes to vacation. So it's there's no shortages of places to go eat and have a good time, and real in proximity to where the convention's being held.
Cool.
So,
any favorites
for food?
Yeah.
I don't know, Carl. What do we like down there?
If you like Cajun, there's a place called Shuck and Dive.
Oh, there you go.
Just north, not too far north of the port.
Yeah.
There's
it's just a little, Cajun kind of Louisiana bar restaurant, but during crawfish season, it's the only place in South Florida you're going to get crawfish.
Oh, nice.
But there's a million nice restaurants over there. Go over on the beach, Beach Place and stuff like that. You won't go hungry down here, that's for sure.
Pretty good steakhouse called Jay's Steakhouse. They converted in from a big church, and it's a really neat background.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Jay's Steakhouse. All right. We always like getting some inside info.
My wife sent me a listing that was found in USA Today on a diner called My Peter Pan Diner for breakfast stuff. Does that ring a bell?
I haven't been there in 20 years, but I assume it's still there. Time. Yeah, it used to be open 24/7, and that's still there. As far as
USA Today listed as one of the best diners in the country, which is
Wow.
interesting.
It's been around a long time.
Yeah, it was a bit late for us.
What the heck?
It was last night, but
Shauna, we needed that yesterday and the day before.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good though. Well, good.
Last question on APSCON for you guys. The host agencies usually have very busy kind of facilitating and hosting the conference. Have you guys got any taskings yet from the organization as far as how you'll support that?
They've come and met with some of the staff at the convention center and then some of our command as far as what facilitating. I don't know that there's been too many big asks because they're usually pretty good. I actually was elected to the board back in 2023 for the Southeast Director position. So we, for the most part, that's kind of Dan and that crew. They kind of know but they've come in and let us know, and then I think we start planning in for the fly-ins and everything prior.
Very cool.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, we're glad that'll be great. We get to come back, so that's kind of cool, to Fort Lauderdale. It'll be warmer, John, just so you know.
A bit.
We won't need our puffy jackets.
I don't think there'll be any frozen iguanas this next time.
No, I don't think so either. Not at APSCON time. It's been interesting. But yesterday, when we joined you guys out in the Everglades for the training, it was perfect out there. It was perfect.
Some of the best weather we've had in a long time.
Especially for you guys. Because
it's not a bad place to be this time of year.
Yeah.
I've got a brother up in Tennessee. It's been 5 degrees all week long.
Yes. I mean, and we were talking to you guys where you're out there quarterly. That means you're there when it's hot and humid, and how you have to put the tents up and just to survive during that training day. But that's it was fun yesterday. It was really nice.
Yeah, it was beautiful out there.
Yeah.
Driving across even. Alligator Alley. That was really cool driving through. Yeah. On the way out there, Brent and I are breaking our necks trying to see alligators in the banks of the water. And then we get out to the shooting area, and there's a big body of water behind you guys, and sure enough, there's an alligator back there. That was really cool seeing that.
Yeah.
Such a tourist thing to say, right? But it's really cool.
You guys are so used to the alligators and the manatees and all that. We're all excited about it and going acting like little kids. I mean, I haven't been on Alligator Alley since I was like 15 or 16 with my family.
Back when it was an alley.
Yeah. And it was amazing. It looks a lot different now. It's a lot more grown on, at least on this side. I imagine on the Naples side too, it's kind of come out a little bit more.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we didn't make it that far, but that was great. That was great. We'll talk more about the APO training that we attended yesterday and that program and how Paul was involved in getting that ball rolling. But Carl, let's start with you. You've been in law enforcement a long time, and we were talking about that yesterday. And you're quickly approaching retirement.
Yes, sir.
So we'll get to the retirement here in a second, but give us. But before we get to you deep diving, let's talk about the current aviation unit that you're a part of right here in and what it's about, what you're doing, personnel, equipment, all that stuff.
Well, it's been a long time coming for us.
Yes.
Because as you know, we were a medevac and law enforcement unit out of one set of aircraft. So to have a dedicated law enforcement machine and crew is epic. Yeah. It's just been great for us. So we're allotted 8 pilots or short pilots. We have 6 or 7 tactical flight officers. We were able to handpick them. And part of that process, actually, we stole from you, because I still remember. So when I came to the unit, I started going to ALEAs and so forth, and went to one of your classes. Yeah. And I still remember you telling the story of, and basically the point of it was, there's no guarantee that a good street cop is going to make a good TFO. Yeah. I believe you had a canine friend that was a terrible TFO.
Yes. Awful TFO.
But to take somebody who is not a highly trained, highly experienced street cop and try to make them a TFO is a guarantee for failure.
Yeah.
So that and a lot of other things made us well aware we needed to hand select the right guys for the job.
Yeah.
So that's what we were able to do. The agency let us interview people. Not me per se, but all of us as a team got together, interviewed guys that came from all walks of life from the agency, and we were able to pick guys, that were high speed, and not all of them made it. Yeah. But the group of guys we have now are phenomenal. Our apprehension rates are through the roof. It's just been, when I started, we had a spotlight and a medic sitting in the back of the A-Star. It's before anybody had cameras or anything. He's flipping through a Dolph's map. And that's what it was. And to see us progress from, that Stone Age to where we are now, it's just been amazing. How much more useful we are, how much more valuable we are, and how much safer of an operation it is that the camera and the mapping system technology has allowed us. It's just been an amazing evolution.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So how many aircraft now? So
we have 3 A-Stars or H-125s. I'm old, so I still call them A-Stars.
I know. I still do, too. I can't. That's a hard habit to break, man.
But we have 3 A-Stars. They're looking to expand the fleet down the road, unfortunately, long after I'm gone.
Yeah.
But the agency they allowed us to spec them how we wanted them.
Right.
From the paint job, by the way, on down. We had kind of a little contest within the unit, from the mechanics to the pilots to the bosses, and this is the paint scheme we came up with.
I love it.
We're proud of it. People have copied it since, which we're really proud of.
We won't mention any names, but
trust me, it's flattery as far as I'm concerned.
But they might be in Florida.
Yeah, they may be. They may be.
I feel like that's the ultimate compliment, right? When someone's taking what you've done
and we've had other agencies, look at our aircraft and specifically want to mimic our setup, which, by the way, I just stole from other. We stole. We're not proud. We'll take information from.
You have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. So they allowed us to spec the aircraft out how we needed it to be. I'm sure, like any good boss, they were double checking, what we were telling them.
Sure.
Which great. Don't put it all on us, but it's made us unbelievably valuable.
No doubt. And the mission profiles. What do you cover now? The medevac went separate way.
Yes, sir.
So now what does the law enforcement side of Broward Sheriff's Office Aviation do?
You know, I say it, I mean, it's basically searches. I say it jokingly, but I'm not joking. I get to hunt bad guys with a helicopter.
Yeah.
And if, you know, we had some TFOs come here and tell us about their love of flying. After your 1,000th circle in a helicopter, your love of flying is irrelevant. You got to be a hunter and want to catch bad guys.
That's right.
You know, because, you know, working a 10-hour shift and, you know, it's just before sunup and you're doing a FLIR search. There's a certain tenacity that's required to, you know, to be good at it.
Right.
I don't even remember the question.
No. Mission profiles.
Oh, so basically searches.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's manhunts for felony subjects or missing elderly, missing children.
Right.
We'll go look for missing aircraft in the Everglades, even though we've turned some of that over to fire rescue. They just got hoist equipped with their new aircraft, so some things like that they're better suited for. But our guys are way better camera operators. So, you know, if you're looking for somebody in the water and, you know, or in the Everglades, you know, we fly 3,000, 4,000 missions a year, something like that. So our guys, you know, running a camera is a perishable skill. And if you're not doing it every day, you're losing skill.
That's right.
So we're really good at finding things in small places.
That's cool.
Thanks to our sponsor, Airbus. Airbus provides the most efficient helicopter solutions to its customers who serve, protect, save lives, and safely carry passengers in demanding environments. Its civil and military helicopters are flying all over the world, making missions possible. Visit airbus.com for more information.
Yeah, and I'm thrilled that you remember that from me, because I said it every year. I mean, for the years I was teaching at ALEA.
I started going to your courses in probably 2005.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I started in the early 2000s with ALEA and going to the Nationals until 2016 was my last one, I believe. And I said that every single year, and I would put a picture up of myself and that person. And he had Billy Bob teeth, and to make it funny, and I put the TFO job is not for everyone. That was the title of that. And he looked funny, you know, and it was Jim Haggerty. And because there's going to be LA people going, I wonder who that was. Oh, come on. It was Haggerty, one of the best street cops on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a classmate of mine from 83, worked some overtime stuff with him in South Central. I worked canine with him. This is an accomplished cop. Really good tactical, can communicate. Even with a Boston accent, he could communicate. And he was hilarious. He's the funniest guy I know. He would have been great to have in the unit. He washed out. He couldn't navigate to save his life. He didn't know north from south at all. I mean, it was hilarious. And I have to share it. In his training, in his 1 month loan, he's with a training pilot named Rick Alatorre. And Rick would give him practice addresses to go to. And the standard was, in the beginning, within 3 to 4 houses, you had to hit it. Toward the end of the month, within 2 houses, you know, you had to be on it. And Rick would say, okay, take me to this address. Jim would direct them. They'd go to this block. Jim would go, bring it around. All right, you got the corner right there, Rick. 3 from the corner, south side of the street, blue house, that's it. And Rick would go, oh, well, that was pretty good, Jim. Verify it for me. Get the binoculars out. You know, this is a while back. Get the binoculars out. Go, yep, got it, baby. And he'd go, wow, good. They started betting lunches and started betting, you know, sodas. Well, one day Rick started getting suspicious. He was, you know, he's struggling on real calls, but he's hitting all these practice ones. So Rick gave him an address and in East LA. And he said, all right, take me to this address. And Jim takes him and says, all right, here we go, Ricky boy, right there. 5 from the corner, south side. That's it. Let me confirm. Oh, yeah, confirm. And Rick goes, aha, that's my mom's house. It's 7 from the corner. And he didn't have it. So all that time, Jim was just screwing with him because Jim knew he wasn't going to make it. And he was just having fun, you know. But it isn't for everyone. That's a great example because I'm telling you, I would hop in a black and white in a police car with that guy any day, and you guys would too. but in the cockpit, he couldn't do it.
Yeah. No, and I've had friends that, guys, I want them to make it. Friends come here. And I'm thinking of, one friend in particular, he had a better shot of a lunar landing than ever controlling that camera.
Oh, that's great.
But nobody was forced on us. We were able to pick the right guys for the job, and it's worked out phenomenally.
That is so important for people listening, and that's why I emphasize, and I'm glad that stuck, because I just think that's so true. I mean, there were a lot of agencies, some big agencies that all of us know that are very professional, where they were told, no, you're taking this person because they're great, they're experienced and knowledgeable, and it's like, okay, but just so you know, they might not be able to do this. Oh, they can do it, because people outside of air support truly don't understand how tough it is.
No.
Yeah. Even the guys that are interested come in and think, they'll fly back seat for a little while, see what's going on. And the minute that they get in that front seat, they realize the load of multitasking.
Yes.
And it gets intimidating very quickly.
Yes. But it's completely different when you get in that front seat, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Our command staff was always really good about allowing us to hand select our folks, which is critical, like you're talking about. There was one time in my time in air support where they said, you shall take this person. So they were selected as a Army pilot. Like, oh, this guy's a Black Hawk pilot. He's going to be amazing. He comes up and like you said, he could probably better land on the moon than operate the camera and be a TFO. So he washed out, and I think it's just proof in the pudding what you're talking about. You might have a passion for aviation. Doesn't mean you're going to be a good TFO. Doesn't mean you're going to be a good police pilot. There's so many things that go into that. But on the culture piece, I think that's the most critical part, is bringing somebody into the unit who, one, can do the job, but two, fits well with everybody else. You bring one bad apple in and it sours the whole patch. It's horrible.
Yeah.
For sure.
We just talked to a couple of chiefs on a podcast recently that's coming out soon, and that came up with, you just cannot have that cancer within it, or the toxic, what do they say, that if it's toxic, you got to get rid of that. You got to. And in a small unit, any small unit, K9, SWAT, bomb squad, detectives, but certainly aviation, sitting in that cockpit, that can really be a problem.
Well, that, with starting the unit around that time, our number one goal was to, gain the trust of especially our K9, our guys on the ground in general, but our K9 and our SWAT operators. Yeah. We wanted them to know that they could trust the voice talking to them.
Yeah.
So as we've continued on, and once we built that trust, it's been a real huge part of our success is the relationship that we have with them. And they're, our great guys on the ground. We never want to compromise that.
That's
with
right.
someone that isn't capable of knowing how to communicate, especially since, like Carl said, most of the time it's fleeing felons that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Armed fleeing felons. So to be able to communicate that in the midst of, all the ongoings in the cockpit, it's a lot.
This is life and death shit. I mean, it is. I mean, it's the reality is there are life and death things happening below us, and you need the most competent people in that aircraft to do it. And you can't do it because, well, we like that person, or they're really fun, or they're really funny, or they're my friend. I mean, we washed out people that were wonderful people.
Absolutely.
And they would come back and thank us. They knew deep down that they couldn't do it. They were some of them were shocked, others were not so shocked. I mean, Haggerty, he knew he wasn't going to make it pretty early on. But we had fun for that month that he was there, no doubt about it. Paul, tell us about your area of operation here in Broward.
Yeah, Broward County is pretty densely populated. It's roughly 1,200 square miles, but a lot of that is Everglades.
Yeah.
So we're kind of on top, but it's the population's around 2 million. So for the area that is populated, it's a lot, which is good for business, I guess. It's keeps us busy. We got a lot going on. We're also surrounded, we have Miami-Dade County to the south of us and Palm Beach County to the north. So we're right in the middle of all the ongoings. A lot of times, whether it's pursuits or follows, we find ourselves going down into Dade or up into Palm Beach, and sometimes beyond those two counties. But everything kind of meets in the middle. So we get plenty of action there.
And let's talk about weather for a second. Southern Florida, it's got weather. A little bit different than what John and I were flying, and we were so spoiled. We had no weather. It was like marine layer. That was our weather. Yeah. But you guys have weather. Yeah. I mean, that you have to deal with and dodge and plan for. Talk about that a little bit. I'll come to you too, Carl, after Paul gives us his perspective.
Yeah, the weather, we're kind of used to it, I guess, being from here. you can have really bad weather in just little pockets all over the place. So it can be clear and perfect weather at the airport, and then a quarter mile out it's torrential downpour with lightning. So or just the opposite. We'll be IFR at the airport, and the place they need us to go is pristine. And we do a lot of communicating some roll call trainings and things with our. So we explain to them like, we're not just telling you we can't come because we can't. We want to come.
Right.
But that part of it's not so bad. I think the other big factor for us is the heat. It gets really hot. Yeah. We've learned to have to really protect the components in the aircraft and stuff in the summertime because it gets, and the AC isn't bad in these, but it's just still really hot. But yeah, it's otherwise. I mean, it's funny you say we have weather here. I still think we're fortunate. We're not mountain terrain or anything. We don't get a lot of fog or So
we're spoiled. It's flat here.
Yeah.
But as long as you have a plan, it's wherever you're working. As long as so we do get a lot of fog here this time of year, especially out in the Everglades. So and it's deceiving because you'll leave this airport, which is close to the coastline, very rarely get fog here, and you get out to the Everglades, and there's a lot of fog.
Wow.
Or you're working out there and fog settles in. Well, what's your plan if that happens?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if I climb to 2,500 feet, there's no fog at 2,500 feet, and we can formulate another plan to go somewhere where there's not fog or it gives you time to think about it.
Yep.
But, having that plan for the threats that are in your area is a big deal.
Yeah.
In the summer here, weather changes quick.
Yeah. Talk about, Paul, you talked about protecting the avionics and the components in the aircraft. That everyone, with all the high-tech mission equipment we have these days, that's a primary concern. I think a lot of people are doing a lot of different things to protect that equipment. What do you guys do to help shield that equipment from the heat when it's not flying?
So we've been putting that bra, that full bra that covers the cockpit over at some of the days, but lately we've found it's best to just pull the aircraft in the hangar. We leave the hangar doors open, leave the tug on it, and we try to just pull it in because the sun and our exposure here, our kind of eastern exposure, it's just you almost got to get it out of there. And we do have a high call volume, and we go up and down a lot. But there are days where it's inevitably it's that earlier part of the middle afternoon, and if it's just sitting, it's just baking out there.
Yeah.
And we've gotten what kind of prompted that is we've got some hot warnings on the camera on different things at startup. So we're like, all right, we got to start putting this somewhere in the shade. So. Yeah. And there's a tremendous difference under the cover.
Oh, for sure.
Temperature. It seems silly, but the doors will be open, and just getting into the shade is 20, 25 degree difference.
Yeah, the heat difference and the UV difference.
Oh, yeah.
Maintaining
you go out and put your hand on the camera in the summer, and it burns you.
Yeah.
Pretty good indicator that you need to put it in the shade.
Yeah. We used to park outside like you guys. And I'd left my iPhone in there a couple times, and you walk out, and the high temperature warnings on your phone.
Yeah.
That's not good. We were using the California pop tops at the time. Really easy to take on and off, but if you're scrambling for a call, it's a pain. So we started doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
In between flights, we just put it in the hangar, and that was great.
Oh. You mentioned, Carl, planning, with weather. So let's talk about planning for the obvious hurricanes. Talk about what Broward does, and in general or specifics about what you guys do to prepare for that inevitable event in South Florida.
We fly away. We don't we don't take any chances. Usually, depending on the path of the storm, we'll fly up to Tallahassee, and even if it starts coming that way, that gives you enough time to fly somewhere else if you have to. But we don't. Generally, they've left the aircraft local once since I've been in the unit. Terrible idea. There's no place here safe from a storm. They thought Homestead Air Force Base had bomb-proof hangars until Andrew rolled through there and knocked the doors off of them.
Wow.
So no, we don't play with that. We just get them out of the area.
Yeah. And is that pre-planned? Where I know it depends on the path, but are there a handful of places that it's safe at these 5 places, and there are different locations north?
Well, we know for sure Tallahassee's good, and we can usually get a hangar there. At either a law enforcement agency up there, or even the local FBO up there has hooked us up in years past. It doesn't happen so often that I can tell you it's a finely tuned machine.
Sure.
But as hurricane season approaches and stuff, we start touching base with people to make sure at least we have a starting point.
Yeah.
If we have to fly north from there, then that's what we'll do.
Right.
Thank you to our sponsor, Precision Aviation Group. Mission-critical operators and fleet managers rely on Precision Aviation Group as a worldwide leading rotor and fixed-wing MRO provider. PAG provides tip-to-tail solutions in 4 MRO segments: avionics, components, engines, and manufacturing DER services. A single point of contact gives you access to over 150 million in inventory globally, 24/7. Just call 800-537-2778. Precision Aviation Group. Others sell parts. We sell support.
Right. Yeah, our state emergency management has gotten a lot better about coordinating things, and we've had a couple times where we've even just gone to Orlando, and they've opened up the convention center, and it's kind of in the regional spot, and you'll have National Guard have some of their airships in there, and you'll see, if it was coming south, all the south counties are sending them there. If it's north, vice versa. And so, all ready to move, but we'll kind of pop them into places in the center of the state, more a little better away from the coast, and the storms tend to be a little weaker inside there.
So is the plan that you go with that bird and stay with it?
Yes.
Yeah,
is that what you do?
With them, yeah.
So you're set for equipment, food, water. You got to prepare for all that stuff. Going, well, we're going to be gone for at least a couple of days, probably, or hopefully less. Let that storm pass, but then we got to get back to work.
Right.
So you got to stay with the bird with equipment.
Because we know they want us back as soon as the storm passes.
Yeah.
And, and we have had storms do damage here. So doing damage assessment and taking people where they need to go sometimes. A lot of times roads are, you can't drive down them. So having an aircraft to be able to do that's a big deal. So, yeah, they want us back here right after the storm.
There's the hurricane situation, to me, is terrifying. When people talk about California, they think earthquakes are terrifying, but I think hurricanes are terrifying. Although somebody did say, I can't remember who it was, it might have been Andrew Nicoletti, talked about hurricanes being like a turtle, slow turtle stalking you. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, you get a lot of warning.
Yeah, you do. You know it's coming.
Yeah.
But two-part question. One, over the course of your guys' career here, what hurricane has been most impactful here as far as, devastation of the area and how you guys responded? And then two, I'm curious to hear about interagency communication and coordination in response to these things.
We've been fortunate. The last real major hurricane to come through here was Hurricane Andrew. It was 93. I think it was 93.
Something like that,
yeah. So, and honestly, Broward didn't take the big hit of it. The south end of Miami-Dade County really took the worst part of the storm, and it obliterated them. Homestead Air Force Base and that surrounding area was devastated. But a lot has been learned since then about the emergency management. Our state has literally Florida Department of Emergency Management. They have a lot of pre-planning set up for anywhere in the state now. And the last couple of times the declaration of emergency has come out, and there's all things, and you're talking about food and all that's kind of prearranged. Yeah. We once our emergency operations center with the sheriff's office gets in touch with the county and the state EOCs. They're just directing us, go here, go there. Everything's kind of all put into place. So it used to be back in Andrew, everybody would help each other out. It still is that way. We had a couple years ago, we had a hurricane hit the West Coast, and our agency was able to help with they sent our dive team with our sonar and stuff because there was a lot of things that hit that area. But it's all managed now into regions, and everybody's kind of committed to it. Mm-hmm. And so the state will start allocating under emergency management who's where, what teams, and put it out. It's kind of impressive now that it's all organized.
Yeah, you guys have created I think a really good model for nationwide disaster response. It seems like you guys are every year dealing with some level of that at some place in the state. So I think a lot of agencies are looking to you guys as far as how you do things and how you coordinate that. What advice would you have for somebody who might be a new unit manager that is in a position where they're trying to figure out their disaster response plan? Any advice or thoughts come to mind there?
I would probably say, look to network the best you can with your counterparts and the other local agencies, and on the state level, and then even there's a lot of federal funding and organizations that come into that. I mean, it's funny, APSCON and Verticon and all those are the places to network in, get with people on anything regarding the missions or management, and like Carl said, you just kind of steal the ideas and implement them as they fit for your needs. But I would say networking is probably the number one thing, to being able to pick up the phone and call. It's been an incredible thing as this industry has built up to be able to pick up the phone and talk to people all across the country. Hey, what are you guys doing over there? How's that working out? And then they kind of, well, this is good. This is not so good. And that's awesome.
Yeah. And make sure you educate your non-pilot bosses, your administrators, as to what you're able to do as, in our case, as a storm's coming. Because, they'll wait until there's feeder bands and, can't you fly up, between the feeder bands? And sorry, man, we're here now. You wouldn't let us leave when we wanted to. Those are conversations that have happened, in previous years, and we've gotten smarter about it now. But yeah, educate the people that have to make the decisions to pull the trigger on, when it's too late. The weather looks good right now. Oh, well, let's wait until the weather gets bad. Too late.
Yeah. That networking side of things is really important. Tomorrow, we'll be with Miami-Dade Fire, who's hosting a regional fly-in. It includes you guys, which would be really cool. Talk about the importance of that and what those offer you guys.
Yeah, I mean, just the fire side, obviously, they kind of work hand in hand with our guys. We've called them out on calls prior to our ability to have hoist capabilities on our fire rescue aviation side. We've been out to downed aircraft. Carl said, I personally have flown over, got someone down aircraft. They're live. They're in such a remote area. They need a hoist operation. We start calling out, and Miami-Dade will get the call, sometimes the Coast Guard, depending on who's available. But I've had Miami-Dade send 2 airships up, one to do hoist and one to do the medevacs. And then we'll send ours to the medevacs off the berm. And, they're, like I said, they're in a remote area, that sawgrass muck, and they'll start working and get them out there. And But it's been a real, it's nice. As far as the law enforcement, we cover each other tremendously between Miami-Dade and Palm Beach. If for whatever reason our units are down or we're out, we're out of service for a little while, or what's more common is that we're going into each other's counties and we start kind of handing off. But we have a great relationship with them,
Well, and the nice thing about these get-togethers is, it's an informal way to meet face-to-face and talk to you about things person to person that you'd never put on paper, And it really helps. Like Paul said, they won't hesitate to come up here and help us. And we've gone down. We've covered for Metro Dade when their aviation unit was down. And talking to people face to face is way more effective than email or anything else. So those informal get-togethers have helped us, form relationships that are important.
Yeah, knowing who's at the hangar north or south of you. If you got a pursuit going north or south, you can call. Hey, we got a pursuit heading southbound, just so you know.
And we've got guys that do it.
Yeah, I think that's huge.
Wow, the networking is so important. Saving those business cards, you never know who you're going to have to call. And some people are really, really awesome about saving those cards. Somebody recently that we had on, we were talking offline. He said, I remember going on a ride along years and years ago in L.A. And I said, well, who'd you fly with? Do you remember? He goes, nah, I'm really not sure. And within 10 minutes, he sent me a picture of the 2 business cards. And these were from 15 to 20 years ago. And I sent that picture of those 2 business cards to the pilot who's up in Idaho and to the TFO that's in North Carolina and said, look at the impact you had on this ride along. He saved your business cards all these years. And they were stunned. But I know a lot of people that have stacks and stacks of business cards, and it comes in handy. You never know who you're going to call.
I'm embarrassed to tell you I still have a Rolodex somewhere at my desk. I really do.
It's great.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. There was a social media video that went around earlier this year, and it's his dad sitting down with his 16-year-old daughter. And he asked her what a Rolodex is, and she thinks for a minute, and she thought it had something to do with like roller skating or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Hang on to that. It's going to be worth a fortune someday.
It should be valuable.
Most people go, what is that? It's a Rolodex. What is that? You explain it, and they go, that's pretty cool. It's the early version of business cards and phones. Paul, let's go back to you and give us the Broward Sheriff's Office overview. Give us the spiel about this department that you're a proud member of.
We're the 3rd largest sheriff's office in the nation. We have we're unique in that we're integrated. We have our Department of Law Enforcement, and then we have the detention, and we have our fire rescue, all under the sheriff. So a little unique in that aspect, but work around. We service several of the municipalities throughout our county as contract cities. So that's also makes us a little unique in the state, where the majority of the counties, municipalities, contract with the sheriff's office for service.
Okay.
And then as the aviation unit, we service the entire county, regardless whether the municipality has their police department or serviced by us. So we get a lot because of that. We get a lot of calls for service, and then we're kind of pushed into being involved in just about every any and every kind of operation.
Yeah. That is, how unique is it? Do you know? Are there other sheriff's departments that have fire under them, or is this it?
I think there's been one or two that have tried. I'm not sure currently, but it's definitely not.
It's interesting. I've never heard it before.
Yeah.
And there's a police department in California still, Sunnyvale, where you join the police department and it's police and fire, and you can actually move. not regularly, not on week to week, but you can go through halfway through a career and say, I'm going to go back to the fire side, and that's very unique. But county, I've never heard that before. It's very interesting.
It's different positions, but we've actually had a couple of our SWAT operators go put themselves through EMT and paramedic school and the fire academy, and mid-career apply and go over to the fire side and become firemen. And oddly enough, we have some of those are because they were SWAT, they join our SWAT medics. So they go to the other side, kind of still remain in SWAT operations, but from the medic side. So
that's interesting.
I've had a couple of guys do that.
Specialized units, anything unique or the normal stuff with Broward?
Oh, we have, I'll tell you, we have a lot. We have a lot of, being a large department, we have a lot of units that are really amazing. We work hand in hand with almost all of them, whether it's some of our investigative units, some of our SID guys, our strategic guys, our undercovers, our downtown homicide detectives, any of those. We get called for anything and everything. We've been called for article searches. Here's a warehouse district. We're looking for a gun on the roof somewhere of any of these 15 buildings. And fortunately, we found it. We found it's a little handgun that was tossed up there. It took us a little while, but we found it. But we get called, and then our top customers are obviously our K9, which we kind of get called simultaneously with them on almost everything, and our SWAT operators, and we kind of do some pre and post stuff with them. But like I said before, the relationship with them is phenomenal. Our K9 unit is one of the best around. They are one of the best around. I would put them up against any in the nation. Traveling around and doing some of the things we've done, these guys are phenomenal. They're top notch, and we're so close with them that there's TFOs and pilots that are on one side of the week, and the K9s, and so sometimes they'll switch up, and you'll say, hey, you know what, I might come over here permanently and work this shift. And no, you won't. That's our crew. They like their air crew, so
that is good to hear.
So it's a good relationship.
And they've all flown with us, so we can show them firsthand what we're able to do for them. And like Paul said at the beginning, K9 wasn't a big aviation fan, but through seeing what we can do for them, they don't want to operate without us anymore.
That's great.
And it's a big deal.
Thank you to our sponsor, Metro Aviation. Metro Aviation, the world's largest family-owned aeromedical operator, offers comprehensive aircraft services with 160-plus aircraft in over 25 states. The Completion Center installs medical and law enforcement kits and avionics, serving diverse aviation needs including offshore, utility, VIP, and corporate sectors.
And externally too, we have a lot of other good K9 units similarly throughout the county that work in these municipalities, and again gaining their trust. Fort Lauderdale PD, Davie PD, these guys won't do a search without us. They'll get us up going, which is great because the communication is there to get us up early.
Right.
And the operation itself, and then the debrief that we have after they're excellent. And it's the proof is in the numbers. I mean, the apprehension rate is through the roof because of that.
Oh, the air element, it enhances the chances of catching somebody for K9 dramatically. And I understand some K9 units are reluctant, but once they learn the truth and the reality, it's like these guys it's gonna be safer for me, and I'm gonna catch more people. And that's what the K9 handler wants to do. We want to find people, and so the resistance is unwarranted. But the trust is earned, like you said. Proof is in the pudding. They get to see it and feel it and go, wow, we need those guys. It isn't just a luxury. It's like we have to have them. They're enhancing our search dramatically.
we've gone out to all internally to all our districts and that we service and externally, and we've met with commands to explain fully what we do, show our capabilities, gain their trust, so that then when we're asking the patrol supervisors and things for things that may sound like we're compromising their safety or their policies, then they understand we're doing the opposite. We're actually the ultimate risk mitigator, right? Let us give you all the intel, and we'll work this thing smoother. And to the point where we do a lot of perimeter training throughout the county to get patrol and everyone on the ground to try and work towards the containment.
Yeah.
So that K9 can come do their job with us, rather than us always just guiding an officer to a bad guy, and it's kind of hit or miss what we're doing there. We've gotten real organized with gaining the containment, having our K9, our TAC teams come in and make an apprehension with all the intel, coming from the air. Yeah, so
that's what it's about. That's what it's about. I can't even imagine, going into a backyard without that. After a while, I was spoiled.
Well, especially from our vantage point with what you see.
That's right. I was very fortunate that on my K9 time, there was a bird over us 95% of the time. And we were spoiled. But I think about it and go, how do people do this without that?
Right.
I mean, the risk increases dramatically. Yes, you have that dog out in front of you, but that doesn't matter. I mean, think of all the times that you see things and you can describe that backyard they're about to go into, describe that tree line, or describe the heat source, and that just changes the whole game safety-wise for that officer, for that dog, for the search team. It's a game-changing thing.
It's epic. And, once upon a time, everybody was afraid of recording and stuff like this. For like everybody else, we went without body cameras for forever. And, everybody hated the idea of body cameras until we got body cameras.
Yeah.
And, Kevin Means said first time I went to his course, 98% of the time, and we've proven it, by the way, 98% of the time, our videos, which all the guys want to come here and see their videos and stuff like that from pursuits or apprehensions and stuff. And off topic, but my God, what a great training tool to go back and be able to critique.
Yep.
We have selected enforcement teams and felony apprehension teams, and they go back and see what they've done as they're doing a felony stop. Training tool is epic, but So Kevin Means talking about 98% of the time it exonerates guys of wrongdoing, and like I said, we've proven it time and time again. So it went from cops especially a fear change, but it went from everybody being afraid of recordings to now they demand it.
Exactly. And Kevin was an advocate for that way before it was cool and way before body cameras even existed. He was talking about it and doing it in San Diego from the air. And they've never had a case from the air that hurt an officer. They had cases where they saved them, where they know if they didn't have that video, what was being said by the media, what was being said by victims and witnesses, which was all lies and baloney, but they were able to bring that video and say, that's what happened right there.
Exactly.
And they play and the officers are saved by that video. Yeah. So no wonder he was an advocate. He got to see that and do that multiple times over the years, and others with San Diego. That's amazing. They were way ahead of their time on that topic.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about it.
For sure.
Well, think back to the tank pursuit. That was long before recording was normal, right?
Yeah.
Had they not recorded that and just disseminated that amongst the industry, we would have talked about it, but we wouldn't have been able to see it in the way that we do now.
And they used that one, by the way, to drive home this point, because that ended with the shooting of the suspect inside that tank.
I remember that one.
And media went crazy immediately. And I believe, and I'm 99% sure I'm right on that, that was the first time that when they got back to the hangar, the video was called for by the chief, and they released it. The chief released it to media immediately because they were criticizing the OIS at the end. Yeah. It's like, did you see what happened?
Yeah.
This guy was going to kill multiple people with that tank. He was going through RVs and they were exploding into pieces. It was amazing. And all because of a video from above that went away. It changed the dynamic of the narrative like that because people could see it. And again, Todd Yeager took that video. I mean, that wasn't Channel 7 or 9 or 2. That was Todd on a camera. a crude camera by today's standards that saved that department and officers from a lot. And Todd still hasn't come on the Hangar Z podcast, John. I mean, I'm thank you for that. I mean, how many times do I have to call this dude? I mean, we want to have Todd on. He's retired, but he retired from law enforcement, but he still flies HEMS. I mean, he's still in it. And he says, nobody wants to hear from me. And I'm like, well, how come we talk about this incident all the time on the podcast? So, Todd, you're coming on. Give me a date, and we're going to do this. But really interesting because, and I got to give a shout out to Kevin too, because yesterday Jesse mentioned Kevin almost in the first 2 sentences of our conversation, and how Kevin impacted your agency when you decided when the split happened. And I said that just I will tell Kevin that. Well, I will tell him. I still talk to Kevin regularly. We just talked a couple of weeks ago, but Kevin's been on the podcast. Those were great episodes, but I hear that a lot, and the impact he had in changing the culture.
Oh yeah,
Harold talks about it. Harold Brink, our friend in the Netherlands, talks about it. Many other agencies talk about how Kevin came there and it changed the dynamic of what you do and how you did it. And you want to talk about that a little bit more?
Well, no, it's so when
you were here for that.
When I came to the unit in 2004, we basically had a spotlight and a medic in the back of an A-Star flipping through a Dolph's map.
Yeah.
And if you want to see anything at night, you're flying stupid low altitudes. So I went to ALEA. Of course, sorry about the truck backing in. I went to my first ALEA in probably 2005. Went on my own dime because the agency, I was a new pilot here. They weren't sending me anywhere. And I first went to Kevin, did like a free hour seminar deal. All you guys did.
Yeah.
So I went to that first and started talking to him. And he's like, well, how you guys flying? And I told him, he's like, my God, what are you doing that for? I said, well, because you told me to, Sergeant.
That's right. That's right.
So literally, the tactics we're flying today are a direct result of what Kevin taught. Other than, we'll argue over whether you should circle right or left.
Yes.
But other than that, we're flying 1,000, 1,200 feet. Which is perfect for a manhunt. During the day, we still have to be down around 500 feet because the student pilots are a bigger threat than anything else. And the traffic pattern around here is 1,000 feet.
Right,
so if you're at 1,000 feet, the airport's not going to be. This is the busiest airport of its size in the country. So a lot of traffic flying around here. But yeah, it was absolutely guys like you and I've gone to Kevin's full course. I don't know, probably 6 times.
Oh my goodness!
Over the years,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, every time I would go out to ALEA, I would go.
Yeah.
And I was able to harp on it enough to, because when I came here, we had one camera on one aircraft. We had 4 aircraft at the time. Only one aircraft had a camera on it. I was told it's a scanning tool and not a search tool, and I politely nodded my head, okay, but nobody knew how to use the thing really.
Right.
And eventually, we were able to get Kevin to come out here, and this is back when our medics were acting as tactical flight officers, and everybody got to go through his course, and it literally changed the way we fly.
Yeah.
And we're still flying the same tactics, essentially.
That's cool. When you've seen a lot of change over the course of your career as far as tactics go, mission equipment and everything, over the course of that time, what's been the most impressive change in either tactics or mission equipment that we utilize?
Well, the tactics we employed kind of early on after seeing how people are good at catching bad guys with helicopters do it. But the biggest thing, it used to be the holy grail was being able to read a tag from a helicopter. Because with older camera systems, I can read a tag now. The TFOs can read a tag now from 1,500 feet at night.
Uh-huh.
When we first started running cameras, I couldn't tell you if the car had a bumper on it from 1,500 feet. So the camera technology progressed. As hard as you wanted to do the job, and this is why our relationship with K9 and other units has progressed over the years, is because we weren't all that valuable back in the day. The biggest thing for us, for any aviation unit, is when Churchill came out with the overlays to where, because it used to be you'd roll up on a scene and, okay, I'm looking at a house mid-block on the right side of the road, blue trim, blah, 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 blah. It takes you 2 minutes to describe where you are and what you're looking at. And by the way, the little streets, You couldn't tell that on a street map.
Yeah.
I would start fights with the medic and the helicopter. It was a lot of workload for the pilot. Now I can tell you instantly. I'm looking at a heat source. He's up. He just jumped from 555 to 557 Northeast whatever street, and it's from an officer safety standpoint, it's epic. It's real information, and it's right now. And you paint them a picture so they never walk in blind. And and shockingly, guys appreciate that.
Dropping markers and letting them know where the gun went and all the things. It's incredible that we can do.
Yeah, being able to, and Paulie's touching on it. Being able to rewind in real time. And we've all had chases where it's a circus car of felons jumping out of a bad guy car. Well, lots of luck remembering who the driver was. If you ever lose sight of him. Well, now we can go back, and because of the way we orbit, we'll usually have one guy you definitely know you have charges on. So the TFO will stick with him. The pilot will fly an orbit that allows you to maintain at least an idea of where the other 4 or 5 idiots went.
Right.
And when we get this guy wrapped up, TFO works the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And we've been able to apprehend, 6 guys out of one car using that kind of tactic.
Yeah, it's insane. The technology is amazing.
The technology has just made us invaluable.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Hangar Z podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to hear more stories that promote the personnel and equipment behind the missions in public safety aviation. Lastly, stand by for a message after a word from our sponsors. Cheers.
Thank you to our sponsor, Precision Aviation Group. Mission-critical operators and fleet managers rely on Precision Aviation Group as a worldwide leading rotor and fixed-wing MRO provider. PAG provides tip-to-tail solutions in 4 MRO segments: avionics, components, engines, and manufacturing DER services. A single point of contact gives you access to over 150 million in inventory globally, 24/7. Just call 800-537-2778. Precision Aviation Group. Others sell parts. We sell support.
Thank you to our sponsor, Metro Aviation. Metro Aviation, the world's largest family-owned aeromedical operator, offers comprehensive aircraft services with 160-plus aircraft in over 25 states. The Completion Center installs medical and law enforcement kits and avionics, serving diverse aviation needs including offshore, utility, VIP, and corporate sectors.
Thanks to our sponsor, Airbus. Airbus provides the most efficient helicopter solutions to its customers who serve, protect, save lives, and safely carry passengers in demanding environments. Its civil and military helicopters are flying all over the world, making missions possible. Visit airbus.com for more information.
That wraps up this episode of the Hangar Z podcast from the Broward Sheriff's Office, the second stop in the 2026 Blades of Valor Tour. A special thank you to Sgt Paul Seda and pilot Carl Spear for sharing the story of BSO's evolution into a high-tempo, dedicated law enforcement powerhouse. From their hunt bad guys philosophy to the culture of consistency that Carl's modeled over his remarkable 39-year career, this unit truly sets the benchmark for excellence in public safety aviation. The stories of unwavering commitment and innovation we heard today are exactly why we launched this tour. We want to extend our deepest gratitude to our 2026 Blades of Valor Tour sponsor, Switlick Survival Products. Their high-quality gear supports the aviation and search and rescue communities every day. Learn more about their mission at switlick.com. We also want to thank Massif for their continued support and for providing the flight suits that keep our team mission ready while on the road. Without these partners, sharing these stories would not be possible. To see more content from this stop and follow the rest of the tour, visit verticalmag.com/Blades of Valor.